and I think human men, honestly, are conquerors. We're conquerors. Like, we want to dominate in everything from our picking the right girl, or like business, or like at the gym, or in a race. We always want to be first. You know, like we just want to conquer. And I think just because you control a country on a bigger scale doesn't mean you want to stop conquering. Like you almost want to spy on all your neighbors. Like you're like, I don't really want to know if I want to go over there, but I definitely know I want to know everything that they're up to at all times. You know, for our safety.
What's the thing about like power corrupts absolutely, absolute power corrupt? Like there's something about like absolute power
corrupts absolutely, or something like that.
Like it's something along those lines of like, you know, if you have some power, like you don't necessarily have to be corrupt, but if you have absolute power, it can corrupt.
It will absolutely corrupt you. I mean, look at Hitler. I mean, that like he was someone that like wanted absolute and total power and in his country, and he got it to the point where he was like, all right, cool, I'm going to take over countries now. Yeah. You know, I mean, he was a an artist who gave up on his work, and because conquering the world was easier to him, crazy? Struggling with his demons or whatever.
We were watching, what's that show, Dirty Money, that we were watching?
I love that show.
Dude, did you see the one about Volkswagen? It's pretty it's amazing. I mean, if you've seen it, you would remember.
But I mean, the VW Bug was the car of the people. It was designed and engineered by Hitler. It was like literally it was Hitler's car.
I know, and that's what's so crazy.
There was footage of them like the owner of Porsche was like creating the Bug, like showing him like the like, design of
the
it.
Scales.
You know how like Porsche.
You know how like the Bug has like the engine in the back.
Yeah.
Like he was like opening up the model car like in the back, and you see the engine, and it was like, oh yes.
And that's one of the things that like so Hitler basically was the savior of Germany, meaning like Germany was in economic and social like decline, and Hitler comes in and hypes up all the people and gets everything in order.
Make Germany great again.
Yep. And basically turns everything around. So everyone was on board. Like I've heard interviews of people that were not Holocaust survivors but lived in Germany in the time, and they were like, yo, we were all on board. We were all drinking the Kool-Aid. Like no one knew what was going on, but like we were all like, yeah, let's do it. Like
no one knew when we were electing him, but yeah.
Well, no, even like in the like rah rah rah, public speeches, the whole salute thing, like.
You're about to do it.
I know, I stopped.
You went, nope, not doing that. Don't want a screen grab of that.
Yeah, the Hitler Youth, like there's so much stuff about it that it's like they were like, yeah, he pretty much saved the country, and also that kind of terrifies me a little bit about the U.S. Like we are prime for a dictator right now, whether we know it or not. Like we are in the perfect situation for someone to come along and quote unquote save the day and be our, powerful leader, and everyone thought Trump was.
Guys, let's be honest. The Constitution, it's outdated. Let's come up with a new system. Like,
yes, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's what happened in like Greece. That's what happened in Venezuela. Like, whenever there's an economic downturn and a social downturn and civil unrest and protests and fighting, and even we have terrorism here in the U.S. Like we have terrorist groups. We've got the KKK.
We got terrorists here living in the USA, the big CIA, the Bloods and the Crips and the KKK.
Yeah, I mean, we got KKK, we got Antifa, we got Proud Boys, we got like so many groups of people. Like we are prime for a dictator to swoop in and then do his 4 years, get reelected, do 4 more years, and then change the Constitution so he can do 4 more, and then 4 more, and then 4 more.
Because there's always like weird amendments.
And before you know it, it's like Putin, who's guaranteed to be in there until 2046, and no one can stop him. It's like it's just we're prime for some fucky shit, and that's kind of the stuff that.
But see, that's the thing.
Everyone thought Trump was going to be that guy, but he's just a fucking idiot.
Well, here's the thing: is like it's funny because. Yes, I agree. We are prime for a dictatorship, and like, it's funny because we're so like, anti like all these other countries that are like dictatorships, but like they are in a position not so dissimilar to where we are. Like a lot of countries.
Some dictatorships are kind of successful.
Yeah, dude. On small scale, I think it works. Yeah, on large scale, I don't think it works. I mean, like in a tribe of 100, having like a dictatorship and like communist sort of situation, like. it can work. Again, if you have like a benevolent dictator that's awesome.
If you want to learn all about the horrors and terrors of communism and socialism, let's read some Jordan Peterson books.
Yeah, exactly.
How about we read some Jordan Peterson?
Because it's a slippery slope. Like once you start to regulate speech and blah 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 blah, like there's all these weird things
it's
that
things
slowly
it's stuff
become.
about it's compelled speech. It's all about fairness, and then that creates resentment and then competition, and before you know it, you're murdering your brother because he got a little bit more cow than you did. You know, like it's weird. It's weird as shit.
There's a lot of benefits of a society that we live in that we take for granted. Like we don't realize all the puzzle pieces. Like, guys, we should just take out this one puzzle piece, and it's like, no, dude, like you don't realize
it's
that's
like a
gonna
domino.
make the whole thing
It's a domino
crumble.
effect. Yeah.
Yeah, and it
you change
seems
one
very
you
minuscule.
change one thing that looks really simple, but it fucks everything else up.
Yeah, and that's why people, I think, are always just like, oh, dude, it's not that hard. Like, we just need to change this one little thing, and everything would be hunky-dory. And it's like, no, because it's not that simple.
And then also the people that control the money, it's like, what is it? The top 1% now controls like fucking over 90%. Like the top 1% of own like 90% of the total wealth. Meaning that like,
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Meaning that like all the 350 million of us have to split 10% of the total wealth.
Yeah, I saw something about like if Jeff Bezos
crazy as shit.
was born in like Egyptian times, like BC, like few hundred BC, and spent like $100,000 every single day until today, he would still not run out of money.
That's insane.
How insane is that to think about?
Imagine having
for thousands of years, you could spend $100,000 a day, and he still wouldn't run out of money.
My thought is like this: imagine having so much wealth that it's literally impossible to spend all of it. Like you can't. Like imagine trying. You're like, I want to buy a country that'll easily knock out a couple of $100 billion, but I can't even buy a country. So I'm gonna buy like airlines and cruise lines, and then I'm gonna buy all these other companies, but nobody wants to sell me all this stuff. Like fuck, I need to spend more money.
I think
and
everyone has a selling price, but yeah, you're right. Like how do you buy like Home Depot or something?
That's what I'm saying. It's like how could you possibly have so much money? And granted, it's not like it's cash flow in his pockets, right? Like it's
net worth, but still.
It's the net worth and the worth of the value of the company and blah 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 blah. But it's not like he's got liquid cash. Like I got fucking $1 trillion, dog.
Because you couldn't even like withdraw that somewhere. That's the other weird thing about living in a cashless society. It's like then you're literally just saying, I have more numbers on a screen than you. Like there's no even like.
What does that even mean?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like at least with Bitcoin, there's like a backing system. There's like
and it's decentralized. That's the one thing. People are like,
yes,
they're
it's
like,
not regulated by a government.
They're like, Bitcoin is for criminals and pedophiles, and it's for doing dirty deals on the internet. It's like, yeah, that is how it was started, but that's not what it is now. It is a decentralized, limited currency that is unregulated and has a public trail on it, meaning that you can watch. It's got a blockchain attached to the Bitcoin, and people don't understand the difference between blockchain and Bitcoin. And if you want to know, just look it up, okay? But it's complicated.
Do your own research.
But basically, it's like there's a limited amount of Bitcoins, and they have value that goes up and down. And then the blockchain is basically like a ghost of where it was, and it never gets deleted. So
it's like a giant math problem
you
too.
You can trace back everything.
It's a ledger.
Yeah, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. It's a ledger. So everything's in a ledger, but it acts as cash. It's a digital form of cash.
And the other thing is you can't like just copy and paste it, like because that's the thing with like an MP3 file. It's not just like a file, because that was like the big thing with like Napster and stuff. It's like if I'm not like if I steal a copy of a CD from a store, I'm physically going and taking the disc and stealing it from the store. Mm-hmm. But if I am making a copy and then selling the copy, my copy is not worth any less because I made a copy of it. But that's the cool thing about Bitcoin is you can't just simply like copy the file. I keep one and you keep one and they're a mirrored image.
No.
Like it's not possible to do that because the math problem of the blockchain is so complex. You can't like decrypt it like that.
You can't undo it. Yeah, it's very, and that's the thing. That's
very
and that's how you can
amazing,
even
actually.
You can build. So have you ever heard the term like Bitcoin mining? These are just big, gigantic processing units that solve these math problems, and when the math problems have been solved, they get rewarded with
one Bitcoin.
with coin. So but
And at a certain
but to
point-
solve that problem, you got to spend like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to build the equipment and
the
like
thing
have
about
the systems
the
to
thing
do
about
it.
Bitcoin is there is, according to its own laws, according to its own regulations, basically, there will
finite.
be a point where the last Bitcoin will be mined,
It's already
and
done.
you will not.
It's done.
Is it?
Yeah. There's like 32,000 Bitcoins and that's it. Or more than that.
I thought it was estimated that they were going to finish mining them in like 5 or 6 years.
I might be wrong because it was literally like a graph on one of those like money fucking pages on Instagram that was like halfway inspirational. But
And I'm also pretty sure it's more than 30,000 market cap. But
well, because each Bitcoin can be at one point it was like $10 and then went up to 6,000 and then 9,000 and then 10,000
But
and
you
then
said there's
20,000
only
and then 50,000.
32,000 actual Bitcoins. That number will never change.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think there's more than 32,000.
But you take up a single Bitcoin and you break it up into a bunch of decibels.
There's 17 million Bitcoins.
Okay, I was way off on the number. I
was going to say like one mining facility could mine like 32,000.
Is it done mining though, or is there more to be mined?
The 17 millionth of 21 million Bitcoins that will ever exist was mined on Thursday, and this was printed in 2018. Actually. So it's more than
21 million Bitcoins, and that's it.
That's how many will ever exist, actually.
So we're probably
we haven't finished yet.
Well, in 2018,
and that was 2018.
2018 we haven't. So we might be finished now.
We might be. Let's see.
Yeah, but that's always
matter.
interesting. But Bitcoins are like it's a digital cash basically, and I could get behind that.
Yeah, no, I totally get behind it.
But for right now, it's hard to find places that take it, and also it's hard to store it and keep it, and also it fluctuates so much that you may pay 0.3 Bitcoin for a haircut today, and then tomorrow that 0.3 Bitcoin be worth a Lamborghini.
Well, what I think was,
and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, it's very volatile. But the thing about it is, I think once it gets to a certain point, we're probably going to come up with different terminology for it.
Well, they also have little Litecoins too, the LITE. Like
that's a different fork. It's a different currency.
But it's the same blockchain, isn't it?
Blockchain is the technology that makes all cryptocurrency. It's a different cryptocurrency.
I don't even know everything about it yet.
Like that's like saying like Bitcoin is like USD, and then like Litecoin is like British pounds. They're both
Euro.
forms of currency that are built on a similar system. Blockchain is the system that cryptocurrency uses. You can also use blockchain to do things that are not currency related at all.
Yeah, it's like just to keep hospital records. How about that?
All kinds of stuff. But anyways, yeah, I mean, neither of us are experts on this, obviously. My brother would be a lot more knowing of all this stuff. Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode, you can click right here. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can click right here. If you want to watch more clips, we got 2 more right over here.